Welcome to the No Quit Living podcast. Our primary objective is to motivate and inspire our listeners to never quit. The reality of life is simple. We all fall. We all fail. At times, we get knocked down. The question is, do we get back up? Are we stronger? Are we better prepared to attain the maximum of our potential? Thank you for joining our No Quit tribe. As you go for your greatness today, never quit. And remember, we rise by lifting others up. Welcome to episode number 353 of the No Quit Living podcast. I'm your host, Christopher J. Worth, and today's theme of the day is Success Leaves Clues. Our quote of the day comes to us from Tony Robbins. Success leaves clues. Go figure out what someone who was successful did and model it. Improve it, but learn their steps. They have knowledge. Don't forget about our live event, which is coming up on Saturday, May 14th in Eastchester, New York. The title of that event is Take Your Personal and Professional Life to the Next Level. And we would love it if you join us and level up. For tickets or information, shoot me an email at chris@noquitliving.com. A bunch of people have asked me over the last few months when I was going to do a solo episode, so I decided to do one today. Since we have recently relaunched our podcast, the feedback has been incredibly positive, and our downloads continue to increase. For that, I would like to say a very special thank you to our listeners. Now, I understand that there are so many other podcasts that get your attention than you could be listening to, so I truly appreciate the fact that you listen to our show. Over the past couple of weeks, a lot of people have also shared the episode on various social media platforms, and I would also like to express my gratitude because that really and truly helps us get our message and our mission out to a much wider audience. I often receive a lot of the credit for our podcast success, but I genuinely want to openly display my gratitude for the incredible guests that we have had on our show. Not only do they share their time with us, but they also share tremendous information and their knowledge, experience, and stories with us, which leads me to today's theme of the day, Success Leaves Clues. Now, conceptually, I know that we all know what that means from the surface level. But if you really think about it, to me, it simply means being able to shorten our own runway. For example, when I had the idea of first launching the No Quit Living podcast, I immediately looked for help. My first thought was to think about who did I know in this space that already had a successful podcast. Now, two of the shows I was listening to were Hal Elrod's podcast and Entrepreneur on Fire, which was John Lee Dumas's show. So I contacted both of them. I didn't want, nor did I expect, overnight success, but I figured I could learn from other successful people. Ultimately, I asked questions, listened, took a bunch of notes, and I even took a course by John Lee Dumas. Now, if you have the opportunity to speak with someone you are looking to learn from, think about the questions that you're going to ask. I'm going to share two questions with you that I often ask people. Number one, is there something you wish you knew before you started? The second question is, if you had to go back to square one and start all over, are there two or three things you would do differently, and are there two or three things that you would repeat? Now, I know this is just a teeny example of the many questions you can ask, but these are two questions that I think really truly exemplify success leaving clues and how you can really and truly learn from other people. Now, if these questions don't work for you, that is more than okay. I would challenge you to come up with two or three questions on your own and perhaps try asking other people that you look up to see if they have some questions or some ideas. As a mental performance coach, I'm always looking to add value to both myself as well as my clients. Selfishly, I have to admit that I've learned so much personally from our incredible guests, whether it has to be their habits, their systems, their routines, or even stories they share. We can always learn from other people. One thing I've really opened up to recently is the idea of reflection and writing things down. I know that we all learn differently and we all think differently, but a common theme recently has been reflection. My personal coach and mentor, Brian Kane, who also happens to be a guest on our show 2 times, he's very big on reflection, and it's something he personally practices himself, and he also discusses it and uses it with his own clients. So my question to you, are you using a journal? And do you reflect? Are you currently writing things down, and how often do you reflect? A fun question I ask each guest is a dinner question. If you could have dinner with any 5 people, or dead or alive, and level up with them, who would you pick? Now, I've been asked a bunch of times who my 5 are, and I have to honestly say that I don't have 5. My list has continued to grow, and it does continue to grow almost each and every week. But I wanted to share my list with you, which is now up to 20 people. So I'm going to share it, and I want to be very clear. It is in no particular order. Michael Jordan, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., Thomas Edison, Winston Churchill, Nelson Mandela, David Goggins, Michael Phelps, Rafael Nadal, Oprah Winfrey, Kobe Bryant, Elon Musk, Napoleon Hill, Maya Angelou, Jim Rome, Zig Ziglar, Bruce Lee, Henry Ford, Earl Nightingale, and finally, Mother Teresa. Now, I know this list is very diverse. We have males, we have females, we have athletes, we have business people. We have those that are alive, those that are dead. But what I love about this list and what I love about the question itself is there is no right or wrong answer. It is an idea that is based on who are those 5 people that you would love to have dinner with. So my challenge to you right now is just to think real quickly in your own life. If you could sit down, whether it's lunch or dinner, with 5 people, any 5 people, dead or alive, that you could level up with, who would you pick and why? Now, as you all know, I'm a huge fan of books and an avid reader myself. So I wanted to share the books that I've recently read myself. First book is Someday is Not a Day of the Week by Sam Horn. And the second book is 1% Better by Brian Cain. Now, these are 2 incredible books that I just finished reading. They're 2 very different books. Sam Horn's book, Someday is Not a Day of the Week, is a much longer book. And Brian Cain's book, 1% Better, is much shorter. But one thing that they have in common that I really love is that they have these questions throughout the book. And at the end of Brian Cain's book, he has a bunch of open-ended questions. Now, I'm sure everyone knows what an open-ended question is. It's not a question that has a yes or no answer. So I would definitely recommend these books. Now, I also wanted to share 2 podcasts with you that I've been recently listening to and really enjoying. The first show is the Bear Performance Podcast with Nick Bear. And the second show is the Ed Milet Show. Both of these shows have had incredible guests, and I honestly take so many notes throughout the episodes, and sometimes I often go back and listen to them again. If you follow me on social media, you might have seen some of my recent posts where I mentioned the Clear Planner. The Clear Planner is something that I'm extremely proud of. A good friend of mine, Dawn Lukowitz, and I began working on this planner back in November of 2020, and it's been available for the last couple of months. And what the Clear Planner is, it's a 13-week, 2-page planner. So think about combining a journal, a calendar, and a planner all in one. And some of the things we focus on within that planner are goals, accountability, your daily, weekly, and monthly calendar, reflection, analysis, and planning all in one place. So if you're somebody that currently uses a planner, or perhaps you're trying to see if a planner might fit for you, we'd love if you could check out our planner. So if you're interested in that, you can head on over to theclearplanner.com. To end today's episode, I wanted to share one last concept with the audience. I'm sure many of you know about the event that we are hosting on Saturday, May 14th, and it's being hosted under the brand The Accountability Forum. The logo for that brand has 2 intersecting circles. One circle represents accountability, while the other circle represents action, and the overlapping area in the middle we define as results. Therefore, my challenge to each of you today is very simple. You can't succeed if you don't hold yourself accountable by taking action. Think about that for a second. Nobody has ever accomplished or achieved anything without effort or action. You can have the best coaches, mentors, trainers, equipment, weather, and even attitude, but ultimately you need to take action. So moving forward, take that action. Don't be afraid to fail. Definitely don't stop if you fall down, and never forget that your action and your accountability will always lead to your results. Make sure you go crush it today, and remember, we rise by lifting others up.
And lastly, to our listeners, thank you. We truly appreciate your time, and we hope our episodes inspire you to keep on attacking life and never giving up. To quote Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, it's always too early to quit.